I have to, want to say all of our deep condolences and sympathies go out to all of the families who have lost their loved ones or someone they know during this pandemic, whether it's from COVID or other illnesses. It's been, wow, an incredible but very eye-opening last year, and we're only hoping that 2021 comes with some hope. We're still in lockdown. We will be for possibly another 30 days. We are waiting with bated breath to see if something can be opened. But there does seem to be a sense of complacency, and it's really kind of hard to explain. And we're going to be talking about that. So I want to immediately open the doors to all of our lovely ladies and thank them so much for coming back. Never in my wildest dreams did I think way back in April we would still be doing this in 2021. But thank you so much. Wow. Well, I'm going to say happy old new year, Susie, Charlotte, Kirsten. I think Linda's joining in on the call too as well. I was just saying, if you asked last April when we first started this, you're going to be doing this in the new year, I would say you're crazy, absolutely crazy. But here we are. I don't know about you. Maybe some of you can maybe further explain. I just saw yesterday that it was announced we're still in another 30-day lockdown, state of emergency, but they didn't specifically say code red. Susie's kind of nodding her head. Is that correct? And that was effective as of 4 p.m. yesterday. So 30 days.
There'll be more updates, I think, as we get towards the end of the week. But yeah.
Oh well. Anyways, so we're going to start off with some good news. Susie, you always do that. So let's talk, about the first food festival of 2021. It is an annual. It is dear to your heart, Susie. And you know what, ladies? We will talk about takeaways from 2020, but one of them has been food. I think that everybody has embraced food, whether healthy, unhealthy, full of chocolate, full of butter, something easy to make, something hard to make, but chicken. Wow, Susie. Okay, so give us the lowdown on how Fried Chicken Fest 2021 is going to go down.
I don't know why that unmute button was hard to find. Yeah, so it's the 4th annual Fried Chicken Fest, and it starts January 16th. And the goal of this food fest was always to be with people, right? Was always for us to get together with our friends and, visit restaurants and to order fried chicken and basically have as much fried chicken as you can. And that's not possible this year. So the gathering isn't possible, but you can still order as much fried chicken as you'd like, and you can still, Zoom with your family and friends if you want, and that way you don't have to share the fried chicken. Maybe that's a bonus too, I don't know. But we're also going to be wrapping our messaging for Fried Chicken Fest in Save Manitoba restaurants as well, because January is typically a really slow time for restaurants, which is why we positioned this food festival in January, was to give that boost and sort of that customer and guest count to restaurants. And the first year that we had it, people were just blown away by how successful this was. And they said like their year over year revenues were up like 300% from when they normally were. So we could tell that people were excited. People were, taking this on and having fun and just doing something fun with their friends in the winter, right? And we can still do all that during this pandemic. We can still support restaurants. We can still gather with fried chicken virtually with our friends and just have a lot of fun.
Oh my goodness. So is there kind of like a contest like they have with burgers for fried chicken too as well?
Yeah, so there is actually a chicken trophy, and my co-founder is in charge of the trophy. And I wasn't sure if we were going to do the voting part this year, but because the voting takes place online, there's nothing that says that we can't do it. So I think when we finish updating the site this week, we'll have that voting option available to go live when the Food Fest kicks off. And yeah, it'll be really exciting.
Oh, so I don't know, you ladies, what do you think? We could have like a Zoom fried chicken party. Next one, like, or when the festival starts, if you feel like eating fried chicken at 11:30 in the morning, that's fine.
Yeah, well, that's right.
I'm vegetarian, so I will
So am I. So am I. So you know what? We'll order sides. We'll order sides. How's that?
My daughters are huge. Like they would be all like I could get them in the background
Yeah.
with their fried chicken. They would be
Yeah.
so happy with that.
Well, I could also add though, like for judging from my boys in the family, the merchant kitchens, Korean fried chicken, or KFC chicken,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Brazen Hall fried
Yeah,
chicken.
so Chef Jesse from Merchant Kitchen always puts together something unbelievable for Fried Chicken Fest. So the rules of Fried Chicken Fest are such that this item cannot exist on your regular menu. So it has to be something that people can only get during Fried Chicken Fest week, which makes it that much more of a sense of urgency, and people are also excited. Now, that being said, many times these items that the restaurants host for that week become regular menu items because people have said, oh my gosh, this is so amazing, you have to have this all the time. So that's been interesting too. And Brazen Hall, they were like our second place, I think, last year. And Capitol Grill won last year on Broadway. And yeah, it's just it's such a testament to our great food scene. And we all know how hard restaurants have been hit by this pandemic and the hospitality industry as a whole. So to me, this is just one more love letter to that industry, and a way for us to support each other and to, keep that economy flowing, and to keep our restaurant people employed and able to pay their staff and pay their suppliers and all those good things.
Yeah, I know. So I would just want to sidebar, Susie. Your campaign has been amazing. Hashtag Save Manitoba Restaurants, and you've got it now in other provinces. How has it been? I mean, there is a huge, obviously, when you roll the campaign out, and it's the excitement, and you do all the PR, and we're going to get into it. There's kind of this lull or sense of complacency or forget, and we go back to our old ways. How has it been for the restaurants?
I think it's been really, they're helping to push the messaging as well, right? So
Yes.
I think it's been a tremendous success from that point of view, obviously. I think it's also driven home the point that a lot of restaurants are not feeling the support from our government, our provincial government especially. And so that's been very hard on them. And this campaign, and everybody showing all their support. I mean, people who are tipping like up to 50% sometimes on their takeout orders, and like just giving that much more support. I have to give a shout out to Pattison Outdoor and to Outfront Media, who have been tremendous in their community support of this initiative by giving us billboards and putting that message out there right through the holiday season. And even now it's still up there on some billboards. QX104 had a call from a farmer a couple weeks ago who had $5,000 he wanted to donate to some restaurants. So shout out again to the Pattison team of QX104. They ran a contest on their Facebook page asking people to nominate their favorite restaurants for this this benefit from this wonderful Manitoban farmer. And again, that just speaks to the nature of the kind of people that we have in this province. So generous and so thoughtful. So they unveiled that list yesterday, and you can go to their Facebook page and check out. They even have a radio clip of Farmer Roger, getting to announce the restaurants, and it's just so great. So I think it's been a very successful campaign. I'm not letting up by any means. The push is still on. Fried Chicken Fest has all of our messaging wrapped up in Save Manitoba Restaurants as well. And registration is still open. If you have a restaurant and want to participate, please hit our website up and take a look at it. And we'd love to have you. And I think it's just one of those things. It's another way that we can rally around, this industry and everybody who works in it, and for a good cause and for a good and delicious, tasty time.
Oh, there you go. Oh, you know what? Well, we're going to go to, and Susie, what is the website that we can go to for the Chicken Fest? And you'll have like a list of all the restaurants participating.
Yeah, we're working on that this week. It's friedchickenfest.ca.
Okay, friedchickenfest.ca. Don't forget that January 16th it starts. Yeah. It's going to be a great time. And I want to say hi to Rana. Oh my goodness. Rana. Look at your beach. Hey, you know what? I did my beach wave because I was just tired of trying to do anything with
beach wave.
I'll let you know, like the secret is sea salt spray. So yes. So I think that we're now allowed to buy stuff for like that for your hair, and it's super easy, right? You just partially dry your hair and you just kind of spray it and you kind of scrunch it, a la like the 80s, sorry, 90s, with the big hair.
I had my hair in pigtails. I had my hair in pigtails yesterday. They went skiing, which I and that's kind of why my hair is kind of wavy like this. So I just kind of took it out and let it be.
So. Oh, because I just thought you spent hours trying to curl it. Hey, see?
I spent hours on no maintenance these days.
It's so much fun. Okay, so we'll go around. Happy New Year to everybody. Oh, let's start off with takeaways. I do suggest a really funny movie if some of you have not yet seen. It's on Netflix, of course. Death to 2020. I suggested it to Linda. Susie's nodding her head. If you just like to have a good laugh, good giggle, and go, oh my God, Rana, you would love it.
I feel it was like a laugh cry movie. Like
Yes.
you're laughing because it's true, and then you're crying because it's true, and you're just like, oh my God, this actually happened, right?
I know.
So
I know.
there's that whole satire piece, and then there's the it's reality. So yeah, it's an emotional roller coaster. Yeah.
Yes. So
anyways.
So kind of, they did the question to the main characters or whatever that were great, all like famous actors, portraying these characters. And the question was, what is your takeaway from 2020? So that was like a kind of a loaded question. So I will start, who is always just so smiley and always just sitting, and you're in my little top left corner all the time, Kirsten. Happy New Year to you and your family. She's like, whoa.
I thought you were going to say Charlotte.
Oh, no, I'll wait for Charlotte. Yes, no. Yeah. And try not to be too Pollyanna, between you and Susie. Although Susie, Susie has an edge. Like then she calls out, but yeah, your takeaway.
Yeah, we had a similar question a week and a half ago when we did a parent support group, which we always have once a week. And we went around kind of talking about what we're going to leave in 2020 and what we're going to gain in 2021. And the conversation was really, really, really just very lost in 2020. And I'm going to be Pollyanna. I'm sorry, this is terrible, but
no, but it's but it's your takeaway. Yeah.
It's our family's takeaway, and my personal takeaway. Every story is different. A lot of with all the horrific events that went on in 2020, and I'm not making light of that at all. But there are some stories, especially with people struggling with mental health, where 2020 in some worlds was actually a safe place and a place where there was a lot of growth. And my family was one of those families. So, the world slowed down. It was a safe place to kind of move forward and venture out and have new experiences without being thrown in the rat race of life. To venture out knowing that you're going to connect with one or two people, not in a room full of 40 people and be lost. So I think Charlotte will agree a little bit. We did experience some really positive things in 2020. And for me personally, for my little family, it was actually a wonderful year. And there's many reasons for that. And I'm not making light of how horrific it was globally. However, moving in 2021, I'm excited just to move on with a whole a deeper perspective. I always think I have gratitude, and I'm very aware, but my gratitude level and empathy has just gone to a whole different level that I didn't even expect. So when we start moving forward and coming out of this, which we are going to, I can't tell you when. I really wish I could tell you when, but the light is there. We just got to get to it. It's just keeping that change and being more grateful, and more grateful of connection and the simple things, and just really enjoy the simple things. And I'm going to wear heels for 12 months when we start going up.
When you start going on, I was going to ask, do you have heels on today?
No, I have slippers, but yeah, I'm just excited to get back out there. So there's my takeaway.
Oh, well, yeah, when we can get back out there. Linda, how about you? Happy New Year. Yes.
Happy New Year. Oh my gosh, takeaways. I have so many, but I don't know if anybody else does word of the year. Does anybody ever choose a word of their year? Anyway, I did this. You did, Susie. What's your word?
So I don't do it the way everyone else does it. I don't choose it at the beginning. I choose it at the end.
Oh.
So I look back on everything, and I was struggling to find how to word it, for 2021. But my word this year for 2020 was family, because
Oh,
that
good.
was my entire universe for
Mhm.
2020.
Right.
And my post basically talked about how the word family is not a noun to me, it's a verb to me.
Oh,
And that the word family to me means is not just your bloodline, but it's the people who show up for you. Okay. So this year, like Kristen said, so many people struggled, and still some people, had tremendous growth, right? But to me, that year showed me who is here for me, who is going to check up on me, who's going to help me, or who I need to help pick up the pieces when they don't even know where to start. Okay. And that can be different for, whether you're coming or going, right? Depending on where you're at in your station in life. But I think 2020, and for a lot of people, maybe this was the case, it crystallized who you need in your life and who you don't. And I think that's a really troublesome revelation in some ways and sometimes, but I think it's a necessary revelation, because when we realize that the world slows down and we need help, or we need care, or we need compassion, who's giving those things and who's not, right? There was a lot of struggle that I think took place, and a lot of healing, but I also think there was a lot of hard lessons that people learned last year, thinking that maybe they were on the same page with certain people and they weren't.
Mhm.
And that's a painful thing to have to realize, very painful. But I think what's even more painful is trying to make a relationship with people who have nothing to give you. They simply want to take. And as I move forward in 2021, in my adulthood, as I raise my children, I need to have people in my life that I not only feel safe with, but that I feel there's a reciprocity involved, and that we are there for each other. And I understand, and the way I quoted it in my Facebook post was that there are people who take because they have to, and then there are people who take because they can. That's two very different types of taking. I'm not interested in the second. I'm
yeah.
interested in the first. Because if you're taking because you have to, that's okay. I can refill my well for that, because I know that your well will be there when I need it. So to me, that word family really had full meaning and came into crystal clear view last year for me.
That is
Wow.
so beautiful. And I love the way you do it. You pick a word retroactively and define your year. That's so interesting. The reason I asked was because this question reminded me of uh, the process that I was doing over Christmas, New Year's, which was to choose a word of the year, and also to choose a word that represented what I wanted to let go of in 2020. So the word that I wanted to let go of in 2020 was helpless. And helpless, I had a friend going through cancer treatments and the pandemic and the racism and, being, forced to be at home. There was quite a few times where I felt helpless. And that was, for me, the word that I wanted to let go of in 2020, that feeling. And my new word for 2021, which I'm bringing forward, is return. Now, it's a weird word. Like I went through this whole kind of yoga process to get to that word, but to me, it was return to me, return to my vision for what I want for my life, return to my values, return to my sense of humor, return to, all the unique, peculiar things that make me me, and really just bring those into my business and create from that sense of just uniqueness, being solid in who I am. And so, yeah, I think 2020, like, Kirsten was saying and Susie was saying, like, family was definitely prevalent. I'm personally proud of the fact that this year, like, my daughters are still talking to me, like, that's like, I did it. Like, so but yeah, that I really appreciated that perspective that you had, Susie, about really noticing who was there for you, and I love that concept of family as a verb, like it's something you do that we, yeah, I'm going to think about that one. I really love that. So, yeah. And as Kirsten said, gratitude, that my health is still good. I think everyone had to face, their own fears of their own health and their health issues. And, I am just very grateful that I still feel healthy at this point. So, that's
Oh,
yeah, that's me.
And to go back to what you're saying there, Linda, too, about like the word family, and I thought about this for a long time because there are so many people who don't feel a connection to their biological family. They might be estranged, or there might be histories of abuse or anything that's there. And sometimes I think you have to choose who your family is going to be.
Yeah.
And when you choose what your family is going to look like, that means that you're choosing people to fit into that structure, and you're choosing relationships and values based on that as well, right? And I think that that's when you can really see the word family, for me, become a verb, because you're being action oriented around what that actually means, as opposed to taking for granted that because we're related, we're family. No, that's not good enough for me anymore. I need to see concrete examples of how you're going to care and nurture and be there for each other, because otherwise, what is a bloodline but a privilege? And that's not what this should be about. This should be about action, and it should be about conscious thoughts about how am I making either, this relationship better, or what do we need to work on? Those kinds of things. And I think that's a very intention filled way to approach family, whether it's biological or chosen. There's nothing wrong with being intention motivated and thinking about your actions and how they affect others, especially as we turn our backs on 2020.
well, that's, yeah,
I
it's a
have
very,
to jump in.
yeah.
We talk about this all the time, Susie. Family of choice and family. When there's a mental health struggle in a family or addiction, family can blow up, and people are often found like they have a great loss and they don't have family. And then if you can reframe that, and exactly what you were talking about, Susie, about family being a verb. I love that. I need to paint that on a wall somewhere. Those people in your world who do show up, who do nurture, and who do continuously, put action into, their behaviors. They nurture. I'm kind of getting off track, but what you said was absolutely perfect. And so many people need to hear that, especially when they're in that place of loss and they've been let down or abandoned by their family. I'm just going to leave it at that. My heart's full.
No, I totally appreciate and understand what you're saying too. And I think that, part of our growth as adults is understanding that our parents, or the adults in our lives from when we were children, whatever that might mean, are just people too, and that their flaws and their, mistakes or missteps are simply a part of that human experience, and that it's not necessarily reflective on us. And we internalize that pain, though, right? As the child, or depending on the relationship dynamic, we can take a step back and look at it from an objective point of view and say, that wasn't necessarily about me, it was about you. And I happen to be the recipient of that failure or that failing, whatever that might be. But I can recognize that and stop that pattern now and repair that, because this great Instagram quote that I read the other day, what you don't repair, you repeat. And it was just like, oh my gosh, yes, I really, really love that, because I think it's so important. And even as we move into 2021, if we don't fix what we have in our lives that's bothering us, we're just going to repeat it. So I love that idea that we can do something. We're not helpless, like Linda said. We can do something to change the pattern moving forward into a more healthy pattern.
Yeah.
There
That's
you
one of
go.
my favorite quotes, actually. Lessons not learned will have to be repeated.
Wow, I should have changed the question. Quote of the day. I don't know. Okay, Rana. I mean, and here you are the epitome of family, and I mean, so deeply rooted.
Definitely. You know, I was having a conversation with some friends yesterday, and we were kind of talking about parents and then children. So, and I don't have children, obviously, but I was kind of suggesting that, you know, the more you can forgive your families and the more that you can forgive your own parents, and it's hard. There's a lot of hurt and there's a lot of deep rooted pain that comes from a lot of family circumstances. I'm not speaking from experience, but I'm just saying, like, I have a lot of people in my life who really struggle at 46, 47 years old, not talking to parents and whatnot. And, you know, one thing I said was, you know, what you give out is what you're going to get back. Right. So maybe getting on that path of healing and understanding a parent's perspective when they're now 80 and you're not going to change them and they're going to be gone soon. So perhaps reconcile whatever issues you have. It'll probably help your own relationship with your children. You see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, you know, how you are to your parents is how your children are going to be to you, because that's what they see, right? So I think that there's obviously it's a very generalized statement. I think that there's a lot of nuances in that. Some people are actually quite horrible, but just generally speaking, you know, I think it's taking those steps and it's making that attempt to reconcile or to be kinder and maybe not react the same way that you did. Like, it always does take two, right? Someone says something to me, my normal reaction is anger or whatever it is, and then it just kind of perpetuates. So there must be something that one can do to change that style of communication or that dialogue, but it does take strength and it takes a lot of effort to do that. I'm assuming, right? Like, I don't, you know, but yeah, you know, for me, family, I mean, it's everything. I've never, you know, I actually wrote a thing on my Instagram. I think, Susie, you probably saw it, where I was just like, you know, one of the biggest backlashes I used to get during politics was, oh, she lives with her family. And I used to be so offended by this, being like, no, I take care of my family, because you may not be able to. That is your jam, but I actually think it's something to celebrate. So obviously we're two very different people. So I actually had that on my Instagram post just a few days ago, you know, being like, how could people even think that way? But just going back to the original question, you know, for me, you know, I'm doing this panel on February 2nd on kind of intersectional, just the intersectional COVID response and how that has been, you know, and you know, I try my best to talk about it as much as possible. So I'm going to use this opportunity to talk about that too. Is for me, not on a personal scale. I think my personal life has been pretty public. Everyone knows very much what I've kind of my ups and downs. But I do think that I think what we saw was a very unfortunate spotlight on how a pandemic or a crisis was different, like how the effect was different amongst different groups of people, right? So, you know, if you look at who were all the kind of care workers, you know, most of them are from marginalized places. Who are the healthcare workers? Most of them are, you know, immigrants from different places who are using those cleaning, janitorial jobs. You know, and I'm gonna, you know, tell people to kind of start paying attention to my Instagram a little bit, because I'm doing like a six stories on that issue, because I do not believe that there's been enough attention drawn to the fact that the response to a pandemic was not equal. It was very much, whether we believe it or not, you know, there's systemic issues within all of these systems already, and they just were perpetuated. And I think if we don't see that during crisis, then we have a questionable future, right? Like, things will not be where we want them to be. So on a global level, I'd say that. But on a personal level, truthfully, you know, I agree with Susie so much. I don't do the word ever, but I think it's a good practice, perhaps. But for me, it was just growth. I think through all the pain, through all the challenges, everything you thought you couldn't get through, you did. Everything you thought you couldn't live without, you did. You know, so I think that is something to celebrate, that all those topics and thoughts you have in your mind about things that you just cannot survive without. You know, if this person leaves my life, I won't be able to, you know, well, maybe they did. and maybe you're fine, and maybe you're on that healing path, and maybe you're going to be really stronger for it tomorrow. So so for me, that's kind of where my head is right now. It's, where have we come, what have we learned, but on a global scale, I think that we have some silence in areas that there shouldn't be silence, basically.
Wow. Well, you know what? Let's have more of a discussion, Rana, on this series, because I think that it is very important too. I mean, as we move forward, and it'll be a nice segue into our next kind of line of a discussion. But I want to go lastly to Charlotte, who's just been sitting there and probably jotting down notes. And it looks like you're back at home, or are you still at the lake?
I'm at home. I'm here for a couple of weeks. So
Yeah.
it was hard to say goodbye to the lake, but needed to go back to the city. So.
Yeah.
And when I'm at the lake, I'm literally in the middle of nowhere with
with your family.
Yeah. So, gosh, you know what, Susie, you always have such great takeaways. So I was jotting down lots, and I did see your family post and loved it. Kristen, we spent probably an hour on this family topic yesterday. We had taken a week off from work, and we're catching up. And we talk a lot, like mentioned before, it's family of choice, not always family of origin. But I really, really loved what you said about, the ones that show up for you and who you show up for. And, in our family peer support groups that we run on Wednesday nights, there's so much shame around when your family of origin starts to fall apart, when there's a mental health challenge involved. And Kirsten and I spend a lot of time supporting families, about how that looks for them, how they can work through it. And some boundaries that need to be created, because sometimes the family of origin has a lot to do with how your mental health is, and forgiving, but still maintaining the boundaries that you need to keep with them. And that's one of those themes that Kristen and I spend a lot of time supporting families on. So always being mindful of that, and then checking in on your biases as well, because, when family doesn't look like the traditional family, are you criticizing or questioning why your family looks like that, but instead of supporting. But takeaways, and back to takeaways, peer support is all about lived experience. And Robin and I had a really interesting year where we got a whole bunch of new lived experiences added to our already big list of lived experiences. Robin lost a brother to suicide. She had lost many, many friends over the years to suicide, but boy, when that one hit us this summer, that was really hard, because that was right in her family. And, so it caused a lot of reflection on how, her family looked and how it looked for her, and what suicide had looked to her previous to that, and then losing her brother. She had, and she doesn't mind me talking about this, she had struggled a lot with suicide in her life. And then when she saw the impact it had by losing her on her family, it just rewrote it for her. And from that, some pretty amazing conversations came in the training that we do in our business, training peer support workers. So that was a big takeaway for our company, was some really amazing conversations and dialogues and trainings that we now offer. And a new one that we're working on right now, which is kind of going along with what Susie was talking about and Kirsten, it's entitled Curious, Not Furious. And so often family is so quick to judge with anger and like, what are you doing? And, so this is one of these great workshops that we're working on to take forward again in our family division. But it's really necessary. It's, having conversations around supporting family members without getting judgy or angry first. And so that's coming up in the pike. So, and I was glad 2020 is over, because it was a hard year. It really was. And I'm a little Pollyanna like Kirsten, really looking forward to 2021 and all the options and possibilities that come. And a little tease, I've got a new addition to my family coming, which I'm very excited about. I'll tell you guys next week. Don't want to jinx it, but my little family's growing. All right, I'm getting a puppy.
I was going to say, I was like, what?
So I
Does it
went
have
from
4 legs?
having,
What kind?
okay, so for all you guys who don't know, I had 3 dogs, and then I had 2 dogs, and then I had 1 dog, and now I have none. So that was the ending to my 2020, was a hard goodbye to a dear member of our family who loved being an only child for a year. So I'm getting a black golden doodle.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. Then definitely they have to be, is it a male or female?
He's a male. His name
He's
is
a male?
Archie. He's
Archie. Well, Archie will be our mascot. Okay. I've already signed him up for that. Well, what a wonderful way to start 2021. Oh my goodness.
Pretty excited.
You know, I'm gonna be quick.
We got a COVID puppy too. Like we got a puppy 2 months ago, and
he's adorable.
He's adorable and just so much work, but like just so cute. And he's half golden, half Bernese Mountain Dog.
Oh wow!
So he's gonna be big.
He's a big boy, but he's so cute.
Well, for me, I can't imagine my family without a dog. And when I was down to 1 dog, I kept asking, I need another one, because I need 2. I don't recommend 3. 3 was really difficult to gang up on you.
Just like kids.
Yeah, so anyway, it took a while to talk the rest of my family into a puppy, because, you know, they're busy.
Well, you know what? It's the mom that has all the tools to convince. But so I'm just going to quickly say I have 2 words, and I was just thinking because everybody just had such great and profound reasons. So mine are friends and strangers. I guess kind of an oxymoron in a sense, but 2020 in hindsight showed me obviously, you know, dear friends, but then thinking of friends in a different sense as strangers, because some of you I didn't know at the beginning of 2020 and had no idea that our paths would intertwine and meet. And so have become friends. Like I can count on, and like what Susie says, with a family too as well. And then going through the whole fear of COVID and, you know, catching the pandemic disease or whatever, and you view strangers so differently. And we had this conversation, and then I was thinking, well, I still want to view strangers and still give them a chance and still embrace strangers in the same way that I would normally do. But of course, you know, under certain circumstances, but never kind of just give in to the, you know, staying away from people. So I guess what taught me is that strangers can become friends. And that was kind of a new meaning for me. And then that's also another feeling that is coming in the new year of 2021, and is with standing at the kitchen sink with my husband, and we just kind of automatically started washing dishes, and we kind of looked at each other, and it was my husband Kevin that said, is complacency going to be the new norm? Because we really, like, we was just like, we talked, well, do we go for a walk? What, do we clean that next room or closet? And we kind of looked at each other, and he just said, you know, and it's not being lazy, but it's just that kind of feeling of, like, and, you know, it's kind of like, you know, with Linda and Susie and everything, you know that feeling is, but is that going to be the new norm? As we heard, we're going to be like this for another 30 days, you know, maybe not like so severe as Code Red, but that also kind of gives you another sense of, to me. So, Linda, you had kind of a new spin on that.
I always have a spin on that. And you know what, Tracy, I I was feeling that so hard yesterday. I was expecting January 4th, Monday, I would just be waking up fired. I woke up so sluggish and just like, bleh. Like I was very surprised actually. But you know, I'm a life coach, so I do have the tools at hand. And, you know, one of the things that I think is, for me is to, you know, I think it's good to acknowledge those feelings and sit with them for a bit, but will notice when I start to indulge in those kind of feelings and start to spiral down into those feelings. So couple of questions that I have, that I ask myself, you know, what do I want? That's a very,
Mhm.
oftentimes for women, we're not used to asking ourselves, what do I want? We often ask what other people want, and we're kind of quick to give them what they want, but we maybe don't take as much time to say, what do I want? Like, what do I want in 2021? Not what I should want, what I think I should do, you know, all that, but what do I want? And to see, somebody said this recently, to see desire as holy, that what we desire for ourselves and for our lives is not just to be dismissed as something frivolous or unnecessary, especially in the face of, you know, pandemic and other people suffering, but to see that desire and what we want is bringing light and magic to the world. And that's an important part, and getting clear on what we want and our vision and how to carry that out is a very important part of, just being alive and being human. Oh, look at that love. That's family. Oh my gosh, that's adorable. So yeah, asking what I want. Another good question is, you know, if you, this is one of my favorite questions that I ask clients. If you could wave a magic wand, what would you have appear right now? Like what in January, if you could wave a wand and you can make it appear, what would you want? So I think redirecting the brain, you know, allowing yourself to sit in some of those feelings is fine, but then redirecting your brain to what's working, what do I want? What do I want to feel? You know, knowing that, you know, what we want to feel is a choice. We can, you know, we can create the feelings that we need or want. And if you could wave a wand, what would you want? What would you want to have appear?
Wow. Charlotte, what are your feelings on?
Oh, you know, I was just listening to what Linda was saying too, and it's I was a little sluggish too starting up yesterday, and Robin and I had taken the week off to do pretty much nothing, and then it was like the list of to-dos was, oh my goodness. But it's those stories that you tell in your brain all the time too that that show up in those tired moments, and you know, really trying to figure out how to kick your butt to get motivated. You know, I was, my head went, Linda, when you're you know, twinkling your magic wand, and it immediately went to a person, you know, someone in my life that I would love to see again who had passed away. So I was thinking that you need to reword that to be maybe not a person, because I was like, if I could change anything or put something in my room, it would be, you know, and I would imagine Rana would have her dad, boom, right back in there too. So I was trying to shift to something, thinking
But
something.
you know, even Charlotte, that's an important realization to have.
Yeah.
You know, if that's what comes to mind, it's then, okay, like what do I need to make time to honor that person. I need to, you know, take time to reflect on what they gave me, you know, like what values they gave me and all that kind of stuff. Like take, you know, that obviously is percolating enough that, you know, it needs caring, it needs attention.
Oh, absolutely. It's the first go-to always. Then you go, and then what would be next? So that's where I went. And I'm a little distracted, and I'm just going to give a little shout out to Girl Power, because this is swirling around in my communication. Is Heather Stephenson was just announced as the new health minister.
Oh,
so
wow.
friend of mine, and I'm like, whoa, big job, awesome for Girl Power, and sending her lots of strength and guidance on that. So
Wow.
didn't mean to be distracted, but it's just,
No.
That's a huge role she's got.
Wow, no, that's great. Yes, congratulations, Heather. And how about for you, Kirsten? Were you feeling
Oh, you know what? I have had a lot of long morning coffees, which it's been going on for months. But yeah, kind of the complacency thing, I can totally relate. But it's a little sluggish, but I've been trying to get out and go on long walks every day, which helps. And I think we have to just be kinder to ourselves as well. Like, as long as we don't get stuck.
Yeah.
But if we feel a little, see what works, how you work that through in the morning or whatever. It's hard to get really excited for me right now. And usually it's funny because when you wake up within the first 30 minutes, I kind of determine whether it's going to be one of those like really awesome productive days or a day, and then I go with it. But I'm looking forward to a little bit of change coming down the pipe soon. I'd love to have Charlotte to my backyard for a fire and a face-to-face, things like that. I would love to have. So I'm hoping we get there soon. Yeah.
Yeah, I think all of us. How about you, Rana?
Yeah, I agree kind of with everyone, right? I'm the same way. Like you, Kristen, I wake up, I'm like, oh, is this gonna be a get done day, or is this gonna be a sit on my computer, look at stuff, pretend I'm doing something? Like it's just, but yeah, like I think you just have to own it, because I think what was happening to me a lot was, I would feel bad at the end of the day about what wasn't done. And then that would just kind of spiral into, you know what I mean? So you have to be very aware of the fact that that's okay, right? Like it's okay to just do the best that you can do. And honest to goodness, if it's a day where I could wash my hair, whatever it is, to be like whatever it may be. For some, it'll be, get out of pajamas. For others, it'll be going for a walk. Whatever it is, just figure out that one small thing that you can be like, oh, what a great day, I got that done. Because if you don't change the way that your brain works, because we're in the habit, right? We think that working ourselves to the bone, to a point where we're so mentally and emotionally exhausted is some kind of championship. Like we've won if we're burned out, right? And that's not the case at all. So I think it's a lot of learning. So yeah, so for me, I'm trying to practice what I kind of preach here and just celebrate the small things and, just roll with it. I definitely have to say, and you can see my beach in the background. I think that there's a lot of, and congratulations to Heather. I mean, that's an incredible portfolio to have, and to have such a strong woman have it, obviously is hopefully it's leads us into the right direction, right? Like we can have some faith in that. But then you look at all these people traveling, right? You go and you're like, oh, well, this politician decided to go here and this leader went, like, what the, like, do you not just sit there and are like, what the, how privileged is your life that no rule applies to you? No rule in general population applies for you. No rule in the law applies for you. Nothing applies for you. Like that, and the fact that people, and I saw, there was that Twitter conversation yesterday happening about this, and I saw people trying to be enraged about it, but almost kind of getting shut down. Like this is something to be angry about. I'm sorry.
No.
People were dying. people lost lives and others were not able to be by their side because we chose to follow the rules. And then you got these people who should potentially be leaders, like you're a public servant, doesn't matter. Just shush, sit home, lead by example. And if you're unable to do that, you should be gone. Like you should personally have your own self dignity and respect to resign. It should just be that simple. Because I think it's embarrassing. I think it's incredibly embarrassing that people did that. Like you just cannot. And you can't equate yourself to not being a public servant. Because then I thought people were like, whoa, this guy went here and this guy had a picture here. Don't equate general population to leaders. They're not the same. One are leaders, we follow them, we trust their judgment. And the others are general population who are making their own personal life decisions about certain things. So anyways, that was my rant about that. I was quite irritated and annoyed.
And general population people are making the decisions based on what they see from leaders. So
How true. Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. You know,
What?
just it's so crazy.
Oh, well, then I
I think the word we're looking for is audacity. You know, I
maybe
think
yes.
the word you're looking for is audacity. How do you have the audacity to do that? So I don't know. It's just it blew my mind.
Well,
And
I think that's going to get bigger and bigger because everybody's going to try and be more audacious than the next one.
you know, try all you want. And I was having a conversation with people yesterday. You know, I was like, look, if you want to be big conspiracy theorists, great. If you want to be whatever it is that you believe in, great. But do it to yourself. Don't allow your decision to derail somebody else's following the rules, being cautious, you know, doing all these things. That's where the issue lies. Go do whatever you want to do. But if it's going to affect other people in some way, which anyone traveling would, just don't do it. You know, you can wait a month. Everybody else waited a month, 2 months, 6 months, whatever it is. So it's kind of nuts, you know, to me, in my personal opinion.
Yeah. Well, Susie. Yes. Yeah, I know you agree, but complacency can be
you know, I don't necessarily view it as complacency. I think that one of the overwhelming feelings, if you will, about 2020 is that it's Groundhog Day, right? Like everything
yes.
is just the same. There's nothing to look forward to, even though you might be planning your dream trip online, you know, for when we can finally do those things again. But there is a I don't want to say it's a danger, but there's almost like a sadness if you're not in the moment, because you don't know what's coming next. We don't know what's coming next, and we are not out of the woods yet. UK and Scotland are locked down till UK is at least mid-January, end of January. Scotland, I think, is end of February now with the new variant that's out of this COVID virus. So we can't get too excited even about the vaccination process because that's going to take a while. There's a lot of moving parts to this. So there is an overwhelming sense of what does it all matter, you know, kind of thing. Like I think we all have kind of felt that, right? And what difference does it make if I wash these dishes tonight or tomorrow? I'm still going to be right here. Like I'm not going out to anywhere. I have no plans. No one's going to come over and see them. You know, like you kind of just wonder what's the point of it all. So I think that we can kind of shake off that feeling of what does it all matter by just saying, you know what, it matters because it's going to give me something to do now. I can, you know, daydream while I do this task or whatever it might be, and just kind of give ourselves a break in the sense of not being so hard on ourselves about what we think we have to be doing, what we think we should be doing, and all those expectations that, like Rana used the word learning, that we need to be unlearning. Okay. And that there's nothing wrong with being sad, being, you know, feeling that sense of loss. These are all normal things that we are and still are feeling right now. And I think that as we move on in this year, we have to sort of reconcile that things are not going to change quickly or even overnight. So we bide our time, we take our time, we practice kindness and compassion with ourselves and others. And those things don't change from, you know, when we started this lockdown. We have to be gentle with ourselves. And when we're gentle with ourselves, we can be gentler with others. And there was a great quote I saw on Twitter where nobody has enough right now to give because we're all operating with the bare minimum. I'm paraphrasing, but it was basically that. And it's just like everyone needs more than what we can give right now. That's what the phrase was. And it's just like, yes, everyone needs more than what we as individuals or even as a group can give. So if we can give ourselves grace and compassion and just time to, adjust and sort of unlearn all those expectations of ourselves, maybe we can be a little bit more peaceful about our current situation. Is that my Pollyanna? I don't know, but.
No, it makes me now, after this, I'll go and clean my kitchen. Okay.
Me too. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. No one would see the dirty, pots sitting there and, soaking. But no, you're so right. Thank you, all of you, for making me now feel better.
Good.
Thank you, Linda. Yes.
I just wanted to point out that this is like death to 2020. We're all wearing black. Like this is
we are.
The funeral for 2020. See you later.
I've got some stripes here of hope, some silver, yeah. There's silver linings in all of this that we're going through. Oh my goodness. Well, I just want to say, I think, I wasn't even too sure on whether continuing these chats, but I really do love them. And I think all of you here today are like the core, the heart of it. And so I would love to continue these, at least, until we're, being able to have a face-to-face. And I think that will really, truly change. So come next Tuesday with something on your shoulders that you want to get rid of, and love to share, because I think this is all what 2021 is going to mean, right? Is continuing the conversation. And if we don't, then yes, we'll all become blah and complacent and not share. So anyways, on that note, I am going to go clean my kitchen. I am inspired now. I will daydream about my first vacation, and I will daydream about the first live event that all of you could be on set here with me, and we can have fried chicken. Then don't forget the fried chicken fest.
And we'll put on our heels for Kirsten.
Yes, heels and hair, makeup, clothes, all of those party dresses. Charlotte, all of the bring in your gowns. And Archie, you can't come without Archie. And Linda, your puppy too. What's your dog's name, Linda? Oh, Linda? Oh, she froze. Anyways, yeah, Linda and her puppy. So thank you all. Enjoy your Tuesday. I know it's a little bit chillier today, but it's beautiful hoarfrost. This morning was wonderful. Magical. All right. See you next Tuesday.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Tracy. Take care.
Thanks,
Take
Tracy.
care.
Thank you.
Thank you.